Guten Abend, Damen and Herren. How are you, everybody? It is good to see you. It is good to be seen by you. Welcome to Wednesday. It is I, Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, coming to you live, loud and clear, hopefully on a wonderful Wednesday. And how are you, folks? How are you? I'm glad everybody was able to stop by tonight. Rob Turner, Michael Dale, I like it too. Finn Fish, Cyrus Wright, Rabbit Wrangler. Could have used your help tonight. Had a little gray and white bun hopping around in the neighbor's yard. Let's see who out there is out. Robert Rabovsky Turner. Hello, hello. Lord Misfit. Yes, Rod Torfelson's Armada featuring Herman Menderchuk. That's right. You cannot not represent. Anyway, I'm glad you're all here, everybody. I'm glad you're here. Savo, hello. I have loved your most recent Feifel run as of late, by the way. It's been absolutely adorable. The Will-O-Wisp in the pond image, which, just heartbreakingly pretty. Just achingly pretty. So, thank you for providing it. By the way, if you guys don't follow Savo, follow them at Feifel the Twit over on X, and you will get a regular dose of amazing, just gorgeous artwork. Gorgeous artwork. Orbital Air, good to see you. Pardon me, guys. I have to let my producer out of the studio. She is meowing. Yes, you guys can hear her. She wants out. So just a moment. I have to tell the nice people. Come along. Come on. Here you go. Come on. There you go. Alrighty. Kitty Cat is taken care of. Michael Connor, Hail Lobster Unbreaded. So I want to jump in to everything that is going on. Now, the admonishment that I gave you guys last night, if you would please, it still stands. It still stands. If you're on Twitter, and look, I don't want to say this in a way that sounds like unkindly or unfriendly. If you're not on Twitter, you don't have to tell me that you don't like Twitter, that you don't do social media, that this is the only time you ever go on the internet is to watch. Hey, thank you very much, Michael Dale. Thank you for the super. Indeed, something does smell like AD&D in here. You don't have to tell me that. I completely understand if it's not your bag. If it is, follow Sandy Peterson at Sandy of Cthulhu and tell him how much Quake, Doom, Call of Cthulhu, the Civilization, the Microsoft, is it Age of Empires, I think, from Microsoft, any of that stuff, tell him how much it means to you and how much you love it and how much you enjoy his work. He is a funny, erudite man, and we've had him on the show 2 times. He has graced us twice with his presence, and that, boys and girls, is worth the price of admission right there to go over and say that. Ayo gazumasu. Shellback Bow, good to see you. I thought you were in Japan, not Ohio. Little joke for our bilingual friends out there. Anyway, yeah, please go express your appreciation for Sandy and what he does. Hey, maybe you could do him a funny Feifel versus Cthulhu drawing, Savo. He might get a kick out of that. But anyhow, I would appreciate it. Speaking of drawings, guys, I shared this briefly last night I shared this briefly last night. Um, Michael, I don't know. I don't know, but I want I do. It's not about that. It's not about that. It's just about uh, you know, go over and tell Sandy he matters. Unless he accelerates to the speed of C and then he energies. But barring that, the Great Underground Online Gaming Convention, the Guac, is right around the corner, and I am stoked for it. We have 3 pieces of preliminary merch art that are going to be available on shirts, stickers, just about any merch you can think of, T-shirts, hats, cups, what have you. And I want to share those with you guys, and then I want to talk a little bit about what we're doing for the Guac this year. So let me add this. So the first one came to us from Dungeon Minister. I know not where he sourced this from, but I absolutely love this one. I absolutely love this one. I think it's Tress Cool. No, this is Guac 4 coming up. This is the 4th one coming up. Because one I'll explain how I know the difference. I absolutely love this. But the next 2 are from Sky Hernstrom, and they are logo imagery, which personally I think just like they work by themselves. But you guys tell me. So check this out. Guac 2025. It's got a very Vaughn Bode look to it in the lettering and everything, and I am here for it. And then the Nuclear Sunburst Guac 2025, which is even more of a 70s, 80s vibe. I absolutely I love the art we have got this year. And that's, again, posters, hats, stickers, mugs, pint glasses, the works. It's going to be there. Dungeon Minister is going to, it does have a Planet of the Apes vibe. Dungeon Minister is going to have the merch up. We're doing our usual slicing it down the middle merch deal. But as soon as con merch is available, I will let you guys know. Now, the convention itself. So the first year we used this kind of strange, almost Facebook-like interface that I wasn't crazy about because it was a little difficult to use. The second year we used Warhorn, and while it had its share of bumps, I liked it fairly enough. Last year we used Warhorn again, and it still had the same bumps. But one of the things that I didn't really like, 33K7, good to see you. I like 33K7, by the way. One of the things that I didn't like about last year's Guac registration was I said, hey, to allow people to register, this is what I said to the folks on Warhorn. And I am not slamming Warhorn, by the way. I'm just saying I don't want to use them. Warhorn is an online scheduling tool for conventions, for gaming conventions. But I asked them, I said, look, I have to make game masters page-wide admins so they can put their stuff in the registration. I have to give them basically the same authority that I have. And the thing is, that means that, let's say all the people who know and love Guac go up and they register, and then one bad actor is like, yeah, I want to do the guacamole thing you got going there. And I'm like, okay, all right. And under a pretense, under social engineering pretense, I allow them to administer. They could go on, cancel games, change games description, change game schedules, like boot people off of games, say, no, Savo, you can't go play Dungeon Minister's basic D&D game. Sorry. There's no like step down where I just say this person is a game master and they have control over this slot. It's all or none, or it was last year. And I asked them about that, and the response was, at some point, you just have to trust people. And I do trust you guys. But I had people sign up for and play in Guac 3 that I didn't know, and I haven't seen in the, and a lot of them got free drawing stuff. They got stuff in the drawing. And I said, hey, you won stuff, and I emailed them. I never heard from them again. So they were literally just in and out. And I'm Ryan Matthews. I'm getting to that. So I was just like, So my next thought was to look into tabletop.events, which is wonderful. And I was hating the idea of having to do tabletop.events. Tabletop.events has a minimum badge fee of either $2.99 or $3.99. I think it's $2.99. I could not keep the Great Underground Online Gaming Convention free if I use tabletop.events. I'd have to charge you guys. And I am really dead set against doing that for a virtual tabletop con. GaryCon 2020 was free for me anyway, as a game master. And like, I was like, if this is how it's going to have to be. And I was dreading it. So here's where we are now. The site, as it were, the server, the gaming Discord server, we have a permanent Discord invite to it. There's nothing to see there, so I'm not going to share it to you guys. Not that I care, but it would be literally like, yeah, you can come in the convention space. There's no tables, there's no vendors. It's months away, but you can walk around in the empty space if you want to. But there was no there's nothing there. So that's fixed. The other thing that's fixed. Let me circle back to you, Gonzalo. Yes, I can. But hold that thought. In fact, I'm gonna pin that in the back discussions so I can come back to you on that. So now this gets into a little bit of personal stuff. The success or failure of what I do with my live streams, with my pre-recorded videos, with the guac, rests solely on my shoulders. My org chart is a rectangle that says the Dungeon Delver. That's it. That's all. And I do that for a few different reasons. One is so that I never lose control and that I never lose sight, and that I don't become an administrator where I'm literally just sitting back going, do this, do that, make that over there. And I'm not really having fun. I'm herding cats. not having fun. Can You Dig It is from the Warriors. Can you dig it? 20,000 hardcore members. $15,000 in gangs. And another 5,000 unaffiliated, but ready to fight. Doc Flamingo, hello. Because it's all our turf. Anyway, I do this by myself. And I say that I do it by myself, but I don't really. I have, I just showed you great pieces of art by people who are contributing art for Guac merch. If you watch the closing credits, you see I have sound engineers, Boganora, aka Imperial Ramblings, and Graph Paper Architect are why I am not doing this with a USB headset mic plugged into my PC. Why I'm actually doing this with a modicum of professionality. My co-host, Kyle Schuant, and that there's everyone, patrons and YouTube members who contribute to the show. Yes, it does, Finfish, any touch that they want. So I don't really do it alone. But the day-to-day, the nuts and bolts, the decision to do or do not, and how I do or do not, yeah, that is largely on my shoulders. But, and this is important, when a couple of people stepped up and said, let us help you with Guac, I realized I couldn't say no. So 2 people have stepped up to help me with Guac scheduling. We have got the Discord for Guac, and that answers the question to Ryan Matthews. 2 folks have stepped up, one to get the date locked down. Well, both of them are kind of working on admin stuff. The other is, now I thought this was a very good thing to keep Guac free, to keep Guac at no cost to you guys, and so I wouldn't have to crawl to tabletop.events and beg them to let me use their service for free, which I'm sure they would say no. They have found, the 2 people that are helping me have found a free bot for the Discord that you can message to create a game, and people can see the game list that the bot posts up and then sign up for your game. So there will be a Discord bot. You'll message it. You'll literally just answer a few questions, and then your game is available. And then as a player, when you go to the Discord, all you have to do is look at the schedule, see a game, and you can click on it and you can sign up for it. That is how we're doing Guac. We have a dice roller bot. We have all the rooms set so that the dice roller bot is involved. If you as a game master want to use a camera, you can. If you want to use voice, you can. I recommend using voice. Text would be really, really difficult. So all the channels are set for voice, but camera is not mandatory. But if you want to share maps, if you want to, have like a whiteboard with a camera pointed at it and you can share your video feed with people. So that is how we're going to be doing the guac this year. I'm going to add a roaming tip bot. It's not roaming in the sense it's going to intrude in your games or anything. It's just going to be there. If you guys want to throw in a little bit of a tip to help us out, then that's fine. If you don't, you don't. I may add a merch bot, which is really kind of cool when you think about it, because it's a virtual con with a virtual merch store. It'll basically go back to Dungeon Minister Spring Store is what it will hook to, but you'll just be like when you're at a con, and the game master's like, okay, guys, we're going to take a 15-minute break, and you dash over and buy a t-shirt. Man, how cool is that? So we're doing it with bots. You heard me. We're doing it with bots. It's going to be fully automated, and I'm excited about it, and I hope you guys are excited about it too. So as soon as those things go live, and I hope it'll be by the end of the week, we will be ready to rock and roll with the great underground online gaming convention. You can go, you can get your games in, you can sign up for games. I am hoping that we will have some panels. We had a pretty good artist panel last year. I'm going to reach out to a few people and ask if we can do artist panel or artist alley or something like that this year. Do I ever start my players out at level 3 to get things going better in AD&D? I have started games at higher levels. I like the growth of going from going from first on the way. If I'm in an event, yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to say, okay, everybody start at first level and level up your characters as we go. That's not going to do for an event. But I have started at higher level, but generally I prefer starting at first level. Yeah, I mean, there are certainly things to be said for doing it like that. Yes, the popular name DM games do tend to fill up. Let me tell you what, Doomsword, James F. Keck, Dungeon Minister, guys, their games are going to fill up really fast. Don't miss out. Don't miss out. My current longest run campaign is my Monday night game that this coming July will be going for 11 years. Which I know there's campaigns out there that have gone for 35, 40 years now. So it ain't that great. Mine won't go that long. Mainly because I don't think I'm going to live another 30 years. But, maybe I will. Maybe it will go that long. First edition AD&D, 11 years now. Now, I want to be very clear about something. The campaign world has remained consistent since July of 2014. Players have come and gone. Great adventure arcs have stopped and others have started. But I consider this a contiguous campaign. If any of my players go looking for past characters or ask about past events, yes, all of this stuff is referenced. That's a good call, Jeff. I mean, people don't think about it, but Keep on the Borderlands can be kind of a meat grinder. Anyway, so that is the state of the guac. Now, maybe we're 26 minutes in and I haven't even brought this up. Maybe you're just coming to the channel for the first time and you don't know what it is we do around here. The Great Underground Online Gaming Convention is a 100% free virtual gaming con that will take place this coming May. And it's going to go. It is going to go from the 22nd to the 25th. Or did I say the 21st? No, I think I said the 21st to the 25th. We're going to have games, availability, all kinds of fun stuff. So don't miss out, guys. Do not miss out. That is correct, Robert. Thursday through Sunday. A nice long convention. Cost to you is $0. And guys, it's online. It's virtual. It's an international convention. If you're in there at 4 o'clock in the morning running your game because it's noon wherever you are, that's fine with me. Yes, Doc, we hopefully in the next day or so, I'll have the sign up system completely locked in place and folks will be able to flood in and sign up their games. So that is what we do. We do it every spring, the Great Underground Online Gaming Convention. And if my YouTube channel ever breaks 10,000 subscribers, and it won't, I feel entirely safe in making this offer. I will hold in real life, an IRL guac, the Great Underground Overland Gaming Convention. It won't be free. That one won't be free. Yes, May, Ryan, May. So I will have all of the sign up stuff set up soon. If you want to know more about this, if you want to kind of follow along, you want to find out who's running a game, whether or not we're doing an artist alley and having celebs come in, celebrity artists come in, like Savo, for example. Savo, if you're still watching, would you like to be in the artist alley? But we'll be talking about it more. So if you want to know more and you haven't already, click the subscribe button, click the bell icon for notifications. And that way you'll find out about it. Plus, you get to see all the cool stuff we do around here. Rambling on shows like this, guest interviews on Thursday nights, Gamma World on Friday nights, Rambly stuff on Monday nights, Tuesday nights, First Edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Most Wednesday nights, my co-host Kyle is in here, and he's running something cool. Or we're just hanging out talking. Savo's desperate to be in the audience. We're just gonna flip the spotlight around and shine it on you, and one of our attendants is gonna run out and hold a mic in front of you. Do I have any experience with AD? I do not. I had some pieces of Battle System. I had like the Battle System rule book for a while, but I didn't. I just I didn't need it. I let it go. See, I think we're going to find out that Savo is like an alt identity for Feifel. Which, you know, just going to bring him live and it's going to be this elf on the other end. See, I've heard some people praise Battle System, and I've heard some people say Battle System is terrible. I generally just like, if the party does run into like 170 orcs, I'll just average out their hit points, because the party is either going to retreat or they have enough spells of mass destruction and enough attacks per round that they're going to stay, and the fight is not going to be that long. So, excuse me. Pardon me yawning. I haven't had any caffeine today, which is probably good. High level AD&D is a lot of fun. I love getting there. Well, Michael, as long as you had a good time. Last year we had Matt Finch, and we had Tracy Lesh were our panelists. But anyway, so that is what's going on with Guac. Delver is a cola guy. Delver is very much a cola guy. There was actually a stretch in the 90s I was very into coffee. And then I just got to like, I was like, you know, like I'm putting cream and sugar in here and this, that, and the other. You know, I'm just going to switch back to soda. A splash of coffee in your cola for perfection. Well, that's nice. Although, if I'm being honest, my favorite soda is actually not caffeinated at all. It's Sprecker's grape soda. It's delicious. It's grape juice. There's some other kind of fruit juice in it too that like surprised me, but it's not bad. But like the two main ingredients are grape juice and honey. It's like grape juice, honey, carbonated water, and some other kind of fruit juice. There's just like next to nothing in it, and it is amazing. I love it to death. So anyway, someone had asked the other night. Someone approached me on the Discord, but we were a little busy talking about other things. I think it was just because it was late, and I had my Monday night game to get to, and I have no such thing going on tonight. I love Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper is a great taste. By the way, if you guys hold that thought, if you guys watch the YouTube channel Binging with Babish, he does some serious cooking. My daughter loves his show, and we sat down and watched it. But a lot of times he will make iconic dishes from movies and TV shows and such like. First, he'll make them, like if they're just utterly simple, he'll make them like they were made in the movie or the TV show. And then he'll make them with better ingredients. Like, he made the stew that gets made in Red Dead Redemption, for example. But one of his more recent ones was the guy who becomes a ghoul in the Fallout TV series before that happens, you see him having a meal. I don't even remember what it is, but oh yeah, it's Spam and a tomato salad, or a salad with tomatoes. And he, all right, Isha, hey, ask away. I'll try and catch it. Yes, Rob, 3 versus 5 versus 9 alignments, and I'll come back to that. Who do I think I am? Well, I think I'm a lot of things. I'm pretty sure that I'm the Dungeon Delver. But the cool thing that he did was, so he made the meal that this guy like enjoyed in a pre-war time. He made Nuka-Cola. Now, no, he did not put strontium-90 in it, but he got a uranium glass, a uranium soda fountain glass, and then hit it with some black light to make it glow. But he used a soda stream. He got cola syrup and then several fruit essences, basically the stuff that they tell you is in Nuka-Cola in some of the game lore. And then he put it in a soda stream to make it foam up. I thought that was pretty cool. So anyway, 3 versus 5 versus 9 alignments. Let me tell you what camp I'm in and where. Well, first, let's talk a little bit about the history of alignments. Everybody, and I was included in this when I was a youngster, but everyone assumed, I don't have the book over here, or do I? Yes, I do. Everyone assumed that the 3 alignments, law, chaos, and neutrality, came from Michael Moorcock's Elric of Melniboné stories. Not an unreasonable position to take, given, however, where it really came from, where it really started, was right here. This is 3 Hearts and 3 Lions by Poul Anderson. And it is the blueprint for a great many things AD&D, and it entails the battle of law against chaos. 3 Hearts and 3 Lions. Amazing book. So, Gary drew the law, chaos, neutrality axes from 3 Hearts and 3 Lions. It's got a paladin. It's got trolls. It's got a swan may. It's got dwarves. It's got nixies. It's got dark elves by name, not by skin tone. It's got the polymorph other and polymorph self spells. So much AD&D and D&D goodness from this book. So we have 3 alignments. Now, where did alignments first show up? Alignments actually first showed up not in Dungeons and Dragons, but folks, in chainmail. Alignments are in chainmail in the fantasy supplement. Law, neutrality, and chaos first appeared in chainmail. So we've got the basis. Isha, hey, that's a good question. I'm going to get back to you. Rob Turner, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Should I be wearing the wizard's hat for this, by the way, everyone? Should I be donning the wizard's hat? Let me know if you think I should be. Super chat for the wizard's hat. Cyrus says yes. Now, is that a nice thing to say, Savo? Is that a nice thing to say? All right. So we have established alignments before D&D. They existed before Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, Doc Flamingo, thank you for the super. And I want to take a time because the question was asked about alignment languages. Ishahay asked about alignment languages. An alignment language is not a comprehensive language of verbs and tenses and nouns and pronouns and adjectives, punctuation of gendered versus ungendered words, gerunds, and so on and etc. An alignment language is literally a short combination. It can be gestures, it can be rote, memorized phrases, signs. Think of Freemasons' handshakes. They are ways of communicating your alignment and your general intent and demeanor to someone else. You cannot sit down and say, this person doesn't speak common, I don't speak whatever they speak, but we're both lawful good, therefore we can talk to each other. All you can communicate to each other is that you are lawful good, both of you, and that you may or may not bear any enmity towards them. That's it. That's it. You are being pedantic, Doc. It's like a passphrase, a series of passphrases. It is not a written, you can't go pick up a lawful good phrase book. How to write in high chaotic evil. Is Pig Latin the orcs? I like that, Robert. That's good. That's good as Pig Latin. Oh, you kill me. All right, so let's go then in depth a little bit, not a huge amount, on alignments and what that means. In original D&D and basic and the Frank Menser stuff, and when I mean basic, I am not talking about Holmes Basic. That introductory set stands alone. Put that out of your mind when I say basic for a very good reason. The nuanced alignment system wasn't there. You were law, chaos, or neutrality. But even in those early days, as I have talked about before, even in those early days, Gary was publishing articles in The Dragon talking about shades of alignment, of law and good and law and evil. Surely mind flayers are lawful, but they are evil. Elves are chaotic, but they are good. So there was a need for more nuance beyond mere chaos and law. Chaos has a very specific meaning. Chaos is a letter. Which is as cool as everybody thinks that chaos is a ladder phrase is. It's dumb. Ladders are structured things that you move up and down. John Littlefinger was an idiot. Anyway. But there were just strictly written by the OD&D rules. Honestly, any player was better off just selecting neutrality, unless you got that newfangled supplement one Greyhawk and wanted to play one of those newfangled paladins. because there was literally no nuance within those. There was nothing given unless you happen to get a copy of the strategic review and see that alignments could drift a little bit, that there was some leeway. And I know the one you're talking about, Robert Phillips. That was, yeah, I remember that. Ubby Dubby. So well, even so, Ishahay, the chaos is an opportunity for ascension implies a hierarchy, and there's really not in chaos. But there's this sense of things being too vague, too hand wavy. It's like they wanted help. They wanted an alignment system. Now we got, but they didn't. It wasn't quite there because there were too many things. It wasn't just all the bad creatures and all the good creatures, because there are degrees in between. And so where you started to see a clarification came in Holmes' introductory D&D, where now instead of 3 alignments, law, neutrality, chaos, suddenly you had 5 alignments: lawful good, chaotic good, neutrality, lawful evil, chaotic evil. So now you could begin to see delineations, and that is a very good alignment system. I think that it fills a necessary niche if you're someone who prefers a simpler rule set of original D&D, but there are things you find admirable in AD&D, then that can be your touchstone for D&D, or for alignments in D&D, the 5 alignments. Now, I prefer it doesn't quite, Gonzalo. It doesn't quite, because you have to remember the Monster Manual was written when Dungeons and Dragons was in flux. So you will see some creatures as neutral, parens, good, close parens, even though that alignment didn't exist quite yet. And indeed, we even have, and I don't think this was ever corrected, the Sioux monster, the psionic mandrill, is just listed as chaotic. But when AD&D hit, when the player's handbook hit, suddenly we went from 5 to 9, because now the neutral alignments are defined, and I quite like the 4 additional neutral alignments. Because if you read the description, it fully explains what the alignments are, or what the neutral alignments mean. And what they mean is that the ethos of their axis rules above adherence to laws or randomness and chance. The ethos itself must be pursued. Neutral good, good above all, Follow the rules, follow yourself. It doesn't matter as long as you are doing good, which is why neutral good is the goodest good. Conversely, evil seeks to promote horror, woe, despair, ugliness, foulness, just absolute pure misery over whether you have a structured crime organization or you're just a random serial killer. Do bad first. Lawful neutrality, strict adherence to the law. Do not walk on the side of evil. Do not hold hands with good. Follow the rules. Chaos is its opposite, chaotic neutrality. Stay away from the goody-goodies. Stay away from those psychos who want to burn churches and murder all the peasants. Just go out there and do random crap that is just completely made up, and whatever you want to do it. And that is how that is how and why I prefer the 9 alignment platform. Are there good examples of play for each alignments when you're a new player? Examples of play? No. I can't think of any. The play example in the Dungeon Master's Guide doesn't really get into alignment. They don't really meet any evil monsters until the very end of the example of play, when the gnome is dragged into the ghoul hole and they can hear him being ripped apart and eaten. Yes, Judge Dredd would be very much lawful neutral. Chaotic neutral is everyone's favorite. It's what my character would do. But the one thing that I don't do, and I will never do, if anyone brings up alignment and they will say, well, what about insert person here for a conversational gotcha because I think I'm the king of semiotics and philosophy. What alignment would they have, Bill? I would say Dungeons and Dragons is not real life. Real life is not Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know. And I'm not going to speculate. Yeah, and I would say in the Star Wars universe, if you were to bring Sith over into an AD&D alignment system, it would be neutral evil. It would absolutely be neutral evil. The Sith are just bent on absolute evil. Do bad stuff. Always do bad stuff. Be doing bad stuff. It was Anakin's first thing he did on Coruscant. So that is my that is my absolute personal thoughts on alignment. I mean, if you need descriptions of the alignments, I think the best alignment descriptions, you should take both what's in the player's handbook and what's in the Dungeon Master's Guide. They kind of reinforce each other. So, So that's where I'm at. Chaotic neutral is a fiercely individualistic stance. Natural contrarians are chaotic neutral. They are a walking stress test to civilization and civility. That's a good. That is a very good take on it, Savo. A walking stress test. Is that why? Is that why Feifel is chaotic neutral? What alignment would Robin Hood be? Um, I would actually say, I would actually say, Robin Hood would be chaotic good, and here's why. Prince John was put in charge when Richard the Lionheart left on crusades. John violated the principles of law by putting the screws to the peasants and overtaxing them. Robin Hood sought to right that wrong by providing surcease and assistance to the peasantry by taking from the rich whom John had enriched and giving that money back to the poor. He never said, don't pay your taxes. He never said, you all should rise up and go do crimes. The balance started to tip too far away from the spirit of law to the letter. And then it got twisted and bent when John started taxing churches, for example, taking money from poor boxes. Robin Hood gave money to the poor. He didn't say, and don't pay your taxes now. So Robin Hood was all about the intent and the spirit of law being upheld. Good point, Ishahi. He did not kill the rich. He robbed them. Good night, Finfish. Be well. So that is where I stand on Robin Hood, but it's a good question. Now, you want to start talking about alignment nuance? Ask me about Medusa the Gorgon. But it also depends on which Medusa we're talking about. In the earliest legends, I would say at worst she was chaotic neutral. Yes, alignment purity spiral. Um, Literally almost every mortal in a Greek mythology story is a victim of the Greek gods who were almost to a one assholes. Uriel was one, and I don't remember the name of the other, Daniel. Yeah, I had my order was incorrect. The earlier ones she was evil, newer ones she was a victim of Poseidon and Athena. Thank you, Daniel. But yeah, don't stumble into the idea. Now, I will say this, that the Medusae as listed in the monster menu, yeah, I'm perfectly okay with them being evil creatures. I don't have to recast them as tragic beings. Dungeon Minister, that sounds to me like that actually sounds to me like a worn spindle bearing. Because you're going slow and it doesn't matter. You're going fast and it doesn't matter, but going a moderate speed and it pulls. Are you hearing like a squeaking noise? Like a consistent like eek, 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 when you're driving along? And it could also be an arm bushing too, that the bushing is worn and you've now got a little bit more play, so you've got a little bit more camber. Yeah, Lord Misfit. uh yeah, I would think that it is a control arm bushing then. um what year model Kia is it? Yeah, you want to talk about a pantheon of all evil beings. Hey, a nerd's nerd, good to see you. um Anyway, that's that. Oh, I'm not dungeon minister. I'm only taking it seriously enough to just have a little smile. It's car talk. It's Delver car talk. Yeah. Although, as said, a 2018 Kia. I mentioned this before. I like watching. Uh, I do like watching car resto channels, and there's a fellow Pole Barn Garage. His son's go kart that he literally just drives around on the property is it's a Kia that they bought for like $700 and chopped most of the body. They just chopped away with a hacksaw, and they painted it a bunch of funny colors, and it's now just like an open wheel go-kart that he drives around on the property. And when it dies, they'll just haul it to one corner of the property and forget about it. Katak. Click and clack, the Tappet brothers. Yep. That's right. There is a Medusa in B2. I had the party in the Tuesday night game when we were playing B2. They actually let the Medusa go free. Yeah, there's some cars. I wish I still had my 97 Civic DX. Two-door. I 2-door, 4-speed, power, nothing. That car had nothing but air conditioning. Was the only was the only bonus. Oh yeah, and the previous owner had installed the cabling and Honda optional radio for a CD changer. So I had a CD changer in the trunk. Ah, that's a good one, Nerds Nerd. I love that. Any machine is a smoke machine if you operate it badly enough for long enough. Computer, car, oven, washing machine, studio light, digital camera, marriage. One of the other resto channels, they built a rally car, like an off-road rally car, out of a what were those boxy hatchback Civics from the late 80s, early 90s? You know the ones I'm talking about, like the ass end looked like a delivery van. I think it was a CX or something like that. The front looked kind of sporty, but the back end just looked like a ridiculous truck topper had been, like the back quarter of a truck topper had been glued onto the car. CRX, that's it, CRX. They got one of those to make into an off-road rally car, and the thing was rotted. It's just like they try and make, because people actually give them grief in comments and on social media. I can't believe with people who need reliable cars, you would buy that car and chop it up just to wreck it on your show. And they're like, these are not good cars. These are barely reparable. They're not safe to drive. We can't make them safe to drive. All we can do is like make them run after they've sat in a barn or in a field for 30 or 40 years. And it's just fun to play with and to say, hey, we got this seized engine started. So they took a CRX and they ripped all of the emission stuff out of the engine. Well, first they drove it around for a little while, and like they put a, I don't know what they figured this out. It was like a 75 horsepower car. And they ripped off all the emissions control crap. I think they made it from fuel injected to carburetor. They actually took the time to get a carburetor manifold and put on it. And it literally doubled the horsepower. It went to 150 horsepower. Dungeon Minister, how suggestive. I remember back in 2011 or 2010, no, it was 2010, we took a cruise and we had a day trip in Cozumel. And my particular trip was a snorkeling adventure. We went to 3 locations and went snorkeling. But there were 4 of us in a car, and we had a little convoy of like 8 or 10 cars. And all of our cars were Volkswagen Beetle conversions. And when we stopped at the last place, they came and fueled up all the cars. And I'll never forget, we took off and we started driving, and I thought it was like our dive gear, but then I noticed the smell in the plastic floor pan, because they had that classic 70s dune buggy fiberglass body. You guys know the one I'm talking about. Sloshing in the plastic floor pan, there was like a 1/4 inch of gasoline. I was driving with the 2 people who were with me, and I was like, you guys smell that? They're like, yeah. I was like, there's gas sloshing around in here. Oh my goodness. Oh, now we're talking about cars. Let's talk more about Dungeons and Dragons and not car. Although there is a vehicle in Dungeons and Dragons. There's an actual physical piece of hardware, not a flying carpet or a broom, that you can find in D&D. I will award 100 internet points to the person who can tell me what that vehicle is. Do you know what it is? It is magical, obviously. Don't say a chariot, Bill, a cart. No, I'm talking about a self-propelled vehicle that you can find. Oh, damn, Ishahay just right out of the chute. Did not even leave any, just like, boom, got it. I'm sorry, Ishahay. Apparatus of Qualish. Oh, that's right, Daniel. Folding boat is another. You can get a folding boat. Blayar says gnome flinger. Gnomes are in range, so let's aim the catapults there. You may thank Feifel for that lovely tune. That's my favorite James Bond movie, by the way. Gnome finger. Someone I haven't seen for 20 plus years. The only foggy memory I have of the lyrics. The punchline was, can't wait to have sex in this car because it's too damn small. Wow. And that's when you decided to enter the seminary, right? I can't be part of this. Anyway. Oh my goodness. So does anybody have any D&D related questions you'd like to ask me? I haven't forgotten your question, Gonzalo, about US-based computer company that builds towers and has a good rep. Do you want something to game with? Do you want something to just use? Do you want something to photo edit, video edit, stream with? All of the above, none of the above? You have to wake me up pretty early in the morning not to remember the crab car from D&D. I think you got the wrong dungeon, Gonzalo. Games and video. Stay away from iBuyPower. Stay away from Alienware. Check out, if you have a local computer shop, do a little bit of comparison shopping. Are you IT savvy at all? Is it something you'd like to tackle? The Machine of Lum the Mad isn't a vehicle, though, Daniel. How do you get someone to DM for you so you can play Wizard in AD&D? Ooh, that's a good question. Dungeon Minister, are you ever going to stop with the apostate heresy and play Advanced Dungeons and Dragons? Someone's in need, Dungeon Minister. You are, but you have money and you're lazy. Okay, so I shouldn't have to tell you don't buy Alienware or iBuyPower. Honestly, I mean, if it's me, do you care how it looks? Let me ask you that. That's an important question, too. Dang. Dungeon Minister, that's just... Then I would buy a like a 10th gen or 11th gen Office PC from a reputable vendor on eBay and stick like a 4060 in it. Make sure it'll have the power and just slap a 4060 in it and call it done. That's what I do if you want a game. Nah, nerd's nerd. I mean, if you go on YouTube, Gonzalo, and look at a lot of the fun channels, like there's a great. Unfortunately, the guy is in Australia. Otherwise, I would say contact this guy. Tech Yes City. Like half of his PC finds, he just goes out, buys a bunch of Office PCs, goes out, buys a bunch of inexpensive GPUs from like 900 series up, repastes the cards, maybe upgrades the memory if he needs to. Bam, budget gamer. That is literally the easiest thing to do. Because you're not sinking a crap load of money into the Office PC and you're getting the GPU you want. You know, there's no monkey business. 16 to 32 gigs of RAM should carry you. Hey, Jack Photon, good to see you. Welcome to the show. What are you going to do, Dungeon Minister, when your kids start asking the uncomfortable questions? Father, are there more than 3 alignments, Father? Father, they said this game might summon in demons and devils. Aren't there demons and devils in Dungeons and Dragons, Father? Father, what is Greyhawk? You're going to have to answer these questions, Dungeon Minister. Be well, Doc Flamingo. Take care. You'll send them to me. Oh, wow. Dad of the year over here. Send them to me. Dad, the guy in the Gandalf hat's kind of scaring us. No, come on. Let me show you some of the pictures in the monster manual. I can't look at that. Flint Fireforge, hello. How are you? Good to see you. Come tell Uncle Bill how much you want to play Dungeons and Dragons, kid. Oh my gosh. I would love to hear his thoughts on first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Dungeon Minister. If he has any particularly sharp observations, share them, please. He's gonna run Miss Tara to spite me. Oh my gosh. So there's a question at the moment. Do you guys think I should add an Uncle Stan's fez to my repertoire of hats? I have 2 wizards hat. Well, I have 3 wizards hat actually. I have a Mickey Mouse mouse ears wizard hat that lights up. I just wear it so rarely because I don't have batteries in the light up part, and otherwise it just looks silly. It is the AD&D Dungeon Master's Guide is one of the best. Oh no, Damien, I hope he did bring the Kender and the dipping sauce. That's awesome, Gonzalo. That is great. A red hat fedora. I actually used to have a pretty awesome pimp hat with a fur band around it. Unfortunately, the person that gave it to me was I didn't want a reminder of that person in my life anymore, so it went to Goodwill. Matt Smith's Doctor Who ruined fezzes. I don't know anything about that. I'm not saying I don't agree with you. I just don't know about it. Gonna run Mystara just to spite. Anyone who does anything for me needs to do it to spite me. Even if they're doing it for like a good reason. I'm gonna treat you nice just to spite you. Just to keep me in my place. Isn't that a beer, Shriner Bock? I think it is. Oh, hey, Dungeon Minister, you gonna be running something at the Guac, sir? I like the lemon lime flavor of spite. I'm just rolling back to make sure I don't miss anything. Oh no, I was going to mention this earlier. I think it's hilarious every time I mention Kinder genocide on on X. If Margaret Weiss has been tagged in the discussion, because people apparently like to tease me about oh, we're going to make Bill run a Kinder. I'll bring up the fact that murder all Kinder. She always likes my comment. Like does not equal agreement, but I do think it's funny. Kinderside. You know what I think we should. I think we should all petition Jack Photon to run something at Guac. Run some Star Trek, some Fossa Star Trek at the Guac. Thank you, Jeff. Have a lovely evening. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. What about Gully Dwarves? I have no strong finger. I have no blah 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 blah. I have no strong feelings either way about Gully Dwarves. Ryan Matthews. No strong feelings either way. Road March 036. Good to see you. All right, Jack. Circle back around. We're due another telephone call or email exchange anyway, so we can discuss that. I saw that, Damien. I thought that was pretty wonderful. What AD&D 2e book is great? The Complete Book of Dwarves gives you tons of charts for fully generating minds and everything else. I love it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It is in May. It is in May. It is May 21st through May 25th. Is that right? It's from the Wednesday to the Sunday in May. So you've got ample time in there. It's not Mother's Day and it's not Memorial Day. Well, I mean, I think Memorial Day here in the U.S., that's just here in the U.S. What is my theme song? Oh, wow. It's a good question. What is my theme song? As a perma DM, I would have to say it's probably God's Gonna Cut You Down, the Johnny Cash rendition. Thank you, Dungeon Minister. So there you guys go. Father Aaron will be running something at Guac. Is that not reason enough to attend? I think it is. Speaking of books and charts, we were talking about, was it last night? I can't. No, it wouldn't have been last night. Last night was AD&D. Maybe it was Monday night. Maybe it was last week. Who knows? I can't say. But there was a discussion of Rollmaster and MERP and how the supplements in MERP were great. The supplements in MERP were really, really good. And I know I'm going to draw some flack for this. Yes, I will absolutely run something, Dungeon Minister. Just point me at the sky, Father, and I'll take care of it. Consider it done. But I hope I don't draw any flack for this. I feel like I may. I was disappointed in the Moria supplement. Mainly because how it seemed to me like, I get it that Moria was supposed to be a civic place, okay? But even the best laid and planned out cities have alleyways and blind alleys and places that have gotten so built up people don't really have a good sense of direction in them anymore. Mazy places, even in the nicest, cleanest, brightest of cities. Fresno, California has kind of mazy, abandoned-ish kind of places in it. Moria just felt like a bunch of straight lines to me. Like there was, it seemed that the Mines of Moria supplement from MERP, granted, it has been over a decade since I even looked at it, and I never owned the book personally. I can tell you, Ryan, just generally speaking for myself, I've never done anything with 2E. Now, there are a couple of things that Jim Ward and Rob Kuntz wrote for 2E that were for Greyhawk, that because they were from Gary's table, I absolutely consider them canon and will just easily use them in 1E. And I know that Jim and Rob did not ballardize them at all, like so many other writers in 2E did. And that is Fate of Istis. They wrote some stuff for Fate of Istis. And I want to say Jim's contributions to Greyhawk Adventures. Would I play it a 2E game if you ran it? You'd let me run a Paladin. Ishahei. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me tell you what. I will play a good game with friends anytime. I have no right to say I wouldn't play this, I wouldn't play that. I've said it before. I played like 6 or 8 weeks in a Pathfinder game, and it was stupid fun because I played Robert Plant. I mean, like Robert Plant. Like, I didn't like twist the GM's arm. Like, I'm not going to play if you don't let me do this. I said, I want to play Robert Plant as a high-leveled bard in this game. And he's like, so a guy that looks like Robert Plant? I said, no, Robert Plant. Like, Robert Plant is a dimension-traveling individual. He has traveled through both time and space to be where he has been. And the game master thought about it and said, okay, you can do that. Nobody did that, Dungeon Minister, but I wish someone had at least tried it once. Here I am. I remember at some point we were in the bad guys were elves. And one of the other players makes the remark, some of the other players were elves or had access to disguise spells, so it wasn't an issue for them. And he says, we're going to have to figure out what to do about your character build because Robert Plant, of course, isn't an elf. And I just kind of started laughing and I said, let's not say things that we don't know are not completely true. And yeah, he kind of laughed and said, oh, okay, all right, you've got a point. As far as we know, as far as we're aware, Robert Plant probably isn't an elf. And I said, that's probably better. I couldn't find the bridge. If I don't know, if anybody ever invited me to a 3E game and said, "Hey, what do you want to do?" I might play like just a Warforged fighter if that's a thing. And instead of hands, he's just got like two big spiky maces. And he would just stomp around telling everybody he was a precision computational machine, and then he figured things out tactically and strategically, and that he used his brain. And then when it came time to act, he would just start beating stuff with the mace fists. How does he pick his nose? Well, I assume Warforged don't get boogers in their nose. So, Warforged are, I guess, robots. They started up in the Eberron setting for 3rd edition was when I first heard of them. I think this was on Usenet, or no, it was. I jokingly said on the Wizards of the Coast forum, somebody was talking about, somebody was in the way Wizards of the Coast ran their discussion forums was basically, if you were saying anything bad about 2nd edition or 1st edition or basic or original, it was allowed. If you said anything bad about 3rd edition, you would get warned by a mod. If you did it again, your account would get suspended. So, 3rd edition fans would come into the 1st and 2nd edition fora and just shit them up with edition warning. And if you said anything back to them, bam, gone. It was worse than Reddit, and that's saying something. No dissent away from their thinking is allowed on Reddit, and you know what I mean. Yeah. So someone was asking, like, I need to know what all of the blah, blah, blah run of modules are. I'm going to track them down and convert them for my Eberron campaign. And again, Warforged just came out, and I said, hey, you play Eberron. What is with the Warforged? I mean, how does a bad guy not just drink a potion of haste and run around in circles and pull out all their bolts, right? And this dude was like so ass mad about it. He responded something to the effect of, well, I, as the dungeon master, would point out to that character that there are no bolts in Warforged, so congratulations, you wasted your spell or your potion. And it was just like, lighten up, Francis. Or do you have to walk the sleeping dog, Dungeon Minister? Which is it? Take care, everyone. Dungeon Minister and Cyrus Wright. That's not everyone, but. If I'm ever in Washington when Robert Plant performs, there's a good chance you run into him at the Pancake House, just FYI. That's good to know. Good to know, Michael Dale. College football time, just briefly. as I watch my viewer count tank. For a couple of seasons, Gus Malzahn, who's a college football coach, coached the University of Central Florida, the Knights. No, I am not a fan, despite being in Central Florida. And Coach Malzahn, his thing, every Saturday morning before a game when he was a coach in other places, but particularly at the University of Auburn in Alabama before he got bought out and went looking for a job and wound up here, was he'd go to Waffle House. He'd go to Waffle House, the one nearest the university. And everybody was all hyped. Oh, we're going to see Coach Gus. We're going to get on the Gus bus at Waffle House. I don't know if he did, because I don't particularly care for the guy. Not like on a personal level, like I hate him, but just don't like him as a coach. Anyway, he got a job somewhere else. He's gone now. He's like offensive coordinator for the University of Florida or Florida State or some shit. I don't know. But yeah, apparently you could just go down there and see Gus having his scattered, smothered, and covered. He's not a great coach. No, he's not. Now, Daniel knows what I'm talking about this. Daniel knows what I'm talking about when I say this. Malzahn was a big-time complainer. And I will never forget, I believe it was it LSU they were playing. I remember the incident, but I don't remember who they were playing. So there's a rule in college football. If there's 2 seconds left and you spike the football, if you take a snap and spike the football, the clock stops because it's a forward pass. And it's an incomplete forward pass. And it'll give you time for your team's kicking team to get out on the field. His quarterback spiked the ball backwards with like 0 seconds left on the clock. And Malzahn went out there and argued with the refs, and they let it stand. Auburn kicked a field goal and won the game. They basically gifted Auburn 3 gimme points to win the game for them. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. Yeah, Daniel, I saw it. I remember very well. It was infuriating. He literally spiked the ball backwards. The refs blew the whistle and then told the time officials to put 2 seconds back on the clock, that it was a legit spike. He didn't even spike it until 0 seconds, and that's what made it worse. Yeah, I don't like Mahomes either, Ishay. I don't even watch pro ball. But anyhow, so any final D&D questions, guys? I feel like we've kind of chewed all the flavor out of tonight, and I don't want to carry on too long, just umming and ahhing. I think we can wrap up if we're wrapped up. Although I do have a couple. I've gotten a couple of messages, and let me just make sure I'm not missing anyone. Alrighty then. Well, I guess that's where we'll go ahead and call it this evening, guys. Thank you very much for hanging out. Tomorrow night is Thursday, so it's kind of more in the same. We'll do some AD&D deep dive. Thank you, Daniel. Yes, I know it was really recently. Thank you, Daniel. But I really appreciate it, guys. Big thanks to Michael Dale and Doc Flamingo for the supers. Always appreciate that, guys. Always appreciate that. Listen, everybody, have a wonderful evening tonight. Like I said, the bat signal is still up. I want you to go over to Twitter, to X, and follow Sandy Peterson. He is at Sandy of Cthulhu, and just tell him you appreciate the stuff he does, the stuff he's done, and the stuff he's gonna do for gaming. And if you don't, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna sick the owl bear on you. Peace. Good night. Love y'all.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere, in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around, some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle, way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me